Although the ancient heavenly serpent ancestor's strength was inferior to his own, Xiao still willingly stopped. It was because of a single sentence the old man had spoken that filled Xiao with deep respect. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. Continuing from before, you're not the ancient heavenly serpent ancestor, are you? Xiao voice was calm, almost casual, but the moment those words echoed through the ancient formation, the atmosphere shifted. The old man, seated cross-legged upon the towering stone stele, stiffened almost imperceptibly. The faint smile on his wrinkled face did not fade, yet something in his eyes darkened. Beside Xiao Kailin Medusa froze. He had pulled her slightly behind him earlier, and now she stared at him in shock. Her crimson eyes filled with confusion. "Heh, little friend, I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean." The old man chuckled, his tone unhurried and warm. "Xiao what's going on?" Kailin asked in a low voice. Xiao did not look at her. His gaze remained fixed on the figure atop the stele. "Do you truly believe he is the ancient heavenly serpent ancestor?" Kailin frowned. "The resonance from the source of my bloodline cannot be mistaken. The fluctuation coming from him, it's the same as our ancestors. That kind of bloodline pressure cannot be fabricated. I am the ancient heavenly serpent ancestor," the old man said again, smiling serenely. "After being hunted down in the ancient era, I fell and was sealed here." The explanation was flawless. The aura was authentic. Even the bloodline response was real. And yet, Xiao only smiled faintly. He offered no rebuttal. Instead, his eyes slowly swept across the vast and bizarre grand formation surrounding them. Ancient runes flickered faintly across the ground and sky, forming a cage that seemed to bind not only space but something far deeper. When his gaze finally settled upon the colossal stone stele standing 1,000 feet away, the old man's pupils contracted. That subtle reaction did not escape Xiao. In the next instant, the calm in Xiao expression vanished. He slowly raised his right hand. Within his palm, flames began to converge. A lotus the size of a palm bloomed silently, delicate, intricate, breathtaking. 5 different colors intertwined within it, each petal forged from a different heavenly flame, rotating in perfect harmony. Though small in size, it radiated a terrifying, destructive aura that caused the surrounding space to ripple and distort. Kailin's breath caught. Even she could sense how dangerous that tiny flame lotus was. "Go." With a soft murmur, Xiao flicked his finger. The 5-colored flame lotus instantly transformed into a streak of blazing light, tearing through the air like a meteor and shooting straight toward the massive stone stele. "Damn it." The old man's expression finally changed. The warmth vanished, replaced by naked fury. His hands moved rapidly, forming a series of complex seals as black energy surged from beneath the stele. "What is that?" Kailin exclaimed. Behind the old man, the air twisted violently. From the back of the stele, waves of deep, pitch-black energy erupted like a tidal surge. The aura was cold, sinister, and suffocating. It carried a corruption so profound that even the surrounding space began to erode, as though being devoured. It was not the righteous power of the ancient heavenly serpent. It was something far darker. The 5-colored flame lotus collided head-on with the surging black tide. Boom! A violent explosion shook the entire formation. The shock wave rippled outward in rings, cracking the surface of the ancient stele. Fine fractures began to spread like spiderwebs across the stone. Kailin's eyes widened. That energy, it was completely incompatible with the world's spiritual energy. Cold, twisted, evil. This was not the power of her ancestor. Behind the ancient figure seated cross-legged atop the towering stone stele, waves of pitch-black energy surged outward like a raging tide. It was not merely darkness, it was a profound abyssal force, heavy and suffocating. The evil fluctuations it emitted were so corrosive that even the surrounding space began to distort and decay. As if being slowly eaten away, the air hissed. Cracks of spatial distortion spread outward in faint ripples. This power was fundamentally incompatible with the world's spiritual energy. It did not resonate with heaven and earth. It rejected them. No, heaven and earth rejected it. This was absolutely not the power of the ancient heavenly serpent. When the tide of sinister energy crashed into the five-colored flame lotus, the collision unleashed a devastating shockwave. The explosion shook the entire formation, and visible cracks began spreading across the ancient stone stele, thin at first but rapidly multiplying like a spiderweb. The ancient being's composed facade faltered. For the first time, genuine unease surfaced in his eyes. Xiao stood with his hands behind his back, his expression calm, almost indifferent. So he said lightly, "There really is something being suppressed beneath this stele." His gaze sharpened. "Let me guess. If I'm not mistaken, the one sealed below is the true ancient heavenly serpent ancestor, correct?" The word struck like thunder. The ancient being's pupils shrank violently. A chilling, killing intent erupted from his eyes, no longer concealed. "Impossible." Kai Lin's voice trembled. "The resonance from the origin of my bloodline cannot be wrong. That kind of ancestral connection cannot be forged." Xiao shook his head slightly. "The bloodline is not wrong." He glanced at her briefly before continuing. "Because this body does indeed belong to the ancient heavenly serpent ancestor." Cylene froze. Her gaze slowly returned to the old man atop the stele. Xiao eyes, however, were fixed steadily on the ancient being. "And I also know," he continued calmly, "that what lies beneath isn't only the sealed ancient heavenly serpent ancestor." A faint smile curved his lips. "There is something else down there, something that was torn away, something that does not belong to him." His voice dropped slightly. "And that something is your true power." Silence fell. The ancient being's expression turned completely dark. The gentle, wise facade had vanished. In its place was something cold, something vicious. He stared at Xiao as if looking at prey that had suddenly become far more dangerous than anticipated. In the next instant, boundless demonic aura erupted from the ancient being's body like a volcanic explosion. Black energy roared outward in violent waves, devouring light and shaking the entire formation. The oppressive pressure it carried was far beyond that of an ordinary 7th grade supreme. The surrounding space trembled, fissures spreading, as if unable to withstand the sheer corruption of that power. His expression turned savage. His voice, cold and filled with imperial arrogance, echoed across the sealed world. "I do not know how you uncovered the truth, but since you have come, you may as well stay." A cruel smile twisted across his lips. "You will help this emperor open the plane passage, and then you will die." Dark energy churned wildly around him, forming a storm of malevolent force. "Although that old fellow sealed 90% of my strength, even with the remaining 10%, crushing the two of you is no different from stepping on ants." The declaration rang with absolute confidence. Yet, Xiao only chuckled softly. And where he asked lightly, "Does your confidence come from?" And the next moment, boom! A terrifying aura burst from Xiao body. It did not explode outward violently like demonic energy. It descended, heavy, majestic, absolute. The entire space fell silent under its pressure. The formation trembled. The air solidified. Even the raging demonic storm seemed to falter. The ancient being's pupils shrank violently. This aura. His voice trembled. An Earth Supreme. Disbelief turned instantly into horror. He had sensed Kai Lin's cultivation barely below a 3rd grade Supreme. From that, he had arrogantly concluded that Xiao could not be much stronger. Never had he imagined that the young man before him had already stepped into the realm of Earth Supreme, a level that stood far above ordinary Supremes, a true ruler among experts. But Xiao did not spare him even a glance. From his body, brilliant 7-colored heavenly flames erupted, sweeping across the sky like a divine conflagration. In the blink of an eye, the entire sealed world transformed into a blazing sea of fire. Flames roared endlessly. The temperature skyrocketed. The demonic aura was forcefully suppressed, pushed back by overwhelming flame-attributed spiritual energy. Above the endless sea of fire-boundless spiritual energy gathered at astonishing speed. It condensed, compressed, and solidified until it formed a colossal mountain of flame 10,000 feet tall. The mountain radiated ancient destructive power. It was not merely energy, it was judgment. It was annihilation. Without hesitation, the massive spiritual energy mountain descended toward the stone stele below. "You bastard!" The ancient being roared in fury. Black demonic aura surged violently as he frantically mobilized every ounce of his power. Waves of sinister energy rose like a tidal wall attempting to block the descending mountain. The two forces collided, but the result was predetermined. Before an Earth Supreme, a mere 7th grade Supreme was nothing more than an ant trying to halt a falling mountain. The demonic tide shattered instantly, crushed, overwhelmed, erased. As the colossal spiritual energy mountain descended, carrying the weight of heaven and earth itself, the ancient being's confidence finally shattered. He could feel it. That power, it was not something he could withstand. Even at his peak, facing it head-on would require a heavy price. And now, with his strength incomplete resisting, it would only mean annihilation. Under Xiaoyan's calm, almost amused gaze, the ancient being made his choice. He abandoned the stone stele. His body twisted into a streak of black light, shooting toward the outer edge of the formation in desperate retreat. Cowardly, decisive, pathetic. Xiaoyan merely raised his hand slowly. He did not chase. He did not move. He simply extended his palm. Space folded. In an instant, 100 jang-wide spatial prison materialized out of thin air, crystalline and absolute. Layers of spatial power overlapped like interlocking cages, sealing every direction of escape. The fleeing streak of black light slammed directly into the invisible barrier. Boom! The ancient being was trapped. Meanwhile, the 10,000-foot spiritual energy mountain crashed down upon the ancient stone stele. The impact was apocalyptic. The runes carved into the stele erupted with blinding black light, soaring 10,000 jang into the sky as if making one final desperate stand. But under the crushing might of an Earth Supreme, they could not endure. One by one, the ancient symbols flickered, dimmed, and shattered. And then, the stone stele exploded. Fragments scattered in all directions as the seal that had lasted 10,000 years collapsed completely. At that very moment, a far more terrifying demonic aura surged out from beneath the shattered stele. It was darker, heavier, more complete, like a beast finally breaking free from its chains. The overwhelming tide of demonic energy rushed directly toward the imprisoned ancient being, pouring into his body in a violent torrent. Within seconds, his aura began to skyrocket. 7th grade Supreme, 8th grade Supreme, and then 9th grade Supreme. The spatial prison trembled under the sudden surge of power. Black energy churned violently around him as his presence expanded to its peak. Yet despite the explosive growth, there was no triumph on his face. Only tension, only urgency. Because he understood one undeniable truth. Even at 9th grade Supreme, he was still not Xiaoyan's opponent. The difference between a 9th grade Supreme and an Earth Supreme was not a gap of numbers. It was a gap of realms, a difference of heaven and earth. All he could do now was gather every ounce of strength and attempt to shatter the spatial prison before Xiaoyan made his next move. I recall someone saying Xiaoyan's voice rang out leisurely laced with ridicule, that even less than 10% of his power would be enough to erase us. He tilted his head slightly. So tell me, now that you've recovered 100%, what can you do? The ancient being's expression twisted with fury. But before he could respond, before he could even begin to break the spatial cage, the dust-covered earth below suddenly trembled violently. A rumbling sound echoed upward. Then, from the shattered ground, 1,000 jang-wide, 9-colored beam of light burst into the sky. It pierced through the sea of flames. It tore through the remaining demonic aura. It illuminated the entire sealed world. Within the radiant pillar of light, a phantom figure slowly emerged. It looked identical to the ancient being trapped inside the prison, but its aura was different. Pure, ancient, majestic. As if it had not seen sunlight for 10,000 years, the phantom lifted its head and took a deep breath. The air trembled softly around it. Its gaze swept across the space, pausing briefly on the raging demonic energy, before finally settling on Xiaoyan and Kailin. A clear, resonant voice, filled with the weight of ages, echoed through the world. Haha, descendant of Emperor Xiao. 10,000 years ago, I was defeated beneath Emperor Xiao's hands. 10,000 years later, I am freed by Emperor Xiao's descendant. The phantom smiled, a smile without resentment, without bitterness, only acceptance. Good, good. The moment those words fell, Xiaoyan and Kailin both understood. The figure before them was the true ancient heavenly serpent ancestor. Hearing that clear yet time-worn voice, ancient, steady, and filled with the weight of countless years, Xiaoyan and Kailin instantly understood. The soul standing before them was no impostor. This was the true ancient heavenly serpent ancestor, not the corrupted shell that had worn his body, not the parasite that had stolen his bloodline, but the genuine ancestor of the heavenly serpent clan. Kailin has erred. I failed to recognize my own ancestor. Without the slightest hesitation, Kailin stepped forward and knelt respectfully, her forehead lowering in solemn apology. The phantom gently waved his sleeve. A soft, warm force lifted her before her knees could fully touch the ground. That fellow merely exploited the bloodline power within my physical body, the ancient heavenly serpent ancestor said calmly. There is no fault on your part. His gaze softened as he looked at Kailin. That my heavenly serpent clan can produce a descendant such as you is our fortune. Kailin's eyes reddened faintly. Beside her, Xiaoyan also stepped forward and lowered himself onto one knee in respectful salute. Congratulations, Senior Heavenly Serpent, on regaining your freedom. Though the figure before him was only a soul form, and though even at his peak, the ancient Heavenly Serpent ancestor's strength would not have surpassed Xiaoyan's current Earth Supreme realm, Xiaoyan's respect was genuine, because he understood something deeper. The Emperor Xiao mentioned moments ago could only refer to the ancestor of the ancient Xiao clan, the legendary figure who once shook the heavens. That meant the ancient heavenly serpent ancestor and the Xiao clan's forefather had lived in the same era. They had stood at the same height. They had fought. And though defeated, this man bore no resentment, no bitterness. He spoke of his loss openly, calmly, even with a trace of laughter. That kind of magnanimity was rare. To accept defeat without shame, to acknowledge strength without jealousy, to speak of the past without hatred. Such breadth of heart was far more admirable than power itself. Ha, you are just as humble as that fellow was, the phantom said with a faint smile, his eyes resting briefly on Xiaoyan. If not for you, this old man would never have broken free from the seal. The sea of flames gradually calmed. The spatial prison still held the demonic being, in the distance its black aura churning in silent fury. But for a moment the space between them felt tranquil. Then, the ancient heavenly serpent ancestor's expression shifted slightly. His brows furrowed as though a lingering doubt had surfaced after 10,000 years of imprisonment. There is one matter. His ancient gaze turned fully toward Xiaoyan. One thing this old man wishes to ask.